Welcome to Aspire. We're so grateful you chose to be with us this morning. I'm just sitting here preparing to go and meet my congregation as I'm going to offer a discourse on Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Strange concept, isn't it? Blessed are the meek. We often think of meekness as weakness, and how could a weak person inherit the earth? Well, I'm going to offer you an insight into that is far deeper than just weakness. We're going to look at it as a form of teachability. In the second half of Aspire this morning, I'm going to have question and answer, some dialogue time with my congregation. Sometimes these get wild and woolly, and they're always interesting. So I hope that you stay tuned for the next half hour as we offer you some insight and inspiration into one of the most powerful of all Beatitudes. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Thanks for being with us in Aspire, and don't go away. Good morning. Thank you very much. I'm so grateful that you chose to be with us. It's so very important that you're here. Without you, well, it just wouldn't be the same. We feel a sense of spontaneity and love with you. I want to thank you for being with us. You know, ever since the beginning of humankind, we have sought to subdue, to manage, and to hold the earth. If you look at most of the things that you are involved with in a day, it is somehow to get a hold of the earth, somehow to have the earth. And I really think that that is wrong. I think we have missed so much of our life because we've done that. I don't think it's bad that we have gone out and tried to earn a decent living and make money and have a nice place to live and have nice cars, etc. What I do think has hurt us a great deal is that we have missed the mark of life. We have missed our life experience because we've been busy trying to earn a living. I have a teaching for you this morning that is the opposite of everything that we've ever believed in. It is the opposite of everything we've been taught. I'm not giving it to you to upset you, and I'm not giving it to you because I want to be obstinate, but I'm giving it to you because it is a teaching that the Master gave to us. We are far too concerned with the treasures of the earth. You know, we've all seen that. We have bumper sticker. And it's a license plate thing, and it says, at the end of life, for he who has the most toys at the end wins. And it's kind of our attitude. We spend a great deal of our life trying to gather toys and objects and things to make our life meaningful. We hear people talk about that the only way life is meaningful is if you have a lot of objects and a lot of money flowing to you. And while there is nothing wrong with having money and happy things and objects flowing to you, it's when we get so concerned with life in the physical that we miss it. There is a very big difference in subduing and trying to manage life or this earthly experience, and that of understanding the very reason we are here. If we are not careful, we can get so caught up in possessions, we can get so caught up in the acquisition of the possessions that we miss the essence of what life is all about. Now I have something very unique for you. I have a beatitude. This beatitude breaks all the rules of our life. I share it with you because it is vital. And the vitality of the message is simply this, that we need to make a change. The message is simply this: blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. That sounds like the opposite of everything we've been taught. We've been taught, blessed are the macho. Blessed are the studs of life. Blessed are the strong people in life, for they pound their way through life and they get everything they want. They step all over people. And the Master's saying, no. Blessed are the meek, the gentle, the quiet. We think of meekness as weakness. And that's where we make one of our biggest mistakes. Now, I need to stop with you here. And we need to part ways a little bit. And I don't mean to be segregating people, but we need to part ways. And some of you in this particular discourse are going to find that you need to part ways. And there's nothing wrong with that, but listen to me for a moment. If the main endeavor of your life still is the idea of gaining objects and things, if the idea of spiritual growth or enlightenment does not seem appealing to you yet, then the message I'm about to give to you will lay flat. But if you're an individual who's had their fill of physical objects and physical things in life, and you're ready for something a little deeper and something a little more profound, then This could be very meaningful to you. Here's a key I would like to share with you. It's important. There are two ways of learning. And really, I don't want to say learning. There is one way of learning and one way of knowing. And there is a vast difference between learning and knowing. Learning is something you do from here. And we can go very far in our life learning from here, thinking from here, acting from here. We have spent a great portion of our life, if we will look at it, in the idea of developing our intellect, developing our mind to accept certain things. We think if we sit and we study and we read and we think and we memorize and then we parrot out that somehow we know something. Very interesting to me. People think that being spiritual means reading a Bible, memorizing Bible scriptures that we don't understand, taking them literally, and then saying them to people at appropriate times. Nothing could be further from the truth. That has nothing to do with spirituality. That may have a lot to do with religion, but not anything to do with spirituality. Please listen to me. When Jesus said, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth," he was teaching us to understand how to learn and live in life. You know, you hear people say, you never stop learning. But I question that. I think a lot of people stop learning somewhere along the road of life. We begin to think that we know it all. We begin to think that we know everything about life and that there's nothing more for us to learn because our minds are set on an intellectual pattern. I know this, I know that, that's all I need to know about life. And yet Jesus is saying, when you walk the spiritual path, and when it becomes very important for you to understand that path, you will become meek. The word meek takes great strength. It is not a weakness. It is your greatest strength. The word meek means to be teachable. The hardest thing you and I will ever find is to be teachable. You know, the older we get, and the more experienced we are in life, the more difficult it is for us to accept new lessons. Lessons that go beyond what our common life has been or our common thought has been. A lot of our life is spent in resistance of new ideas and new concepts. I can't tell you how funny it is to think that people pray. How absurd to pray when we are not open to prayer. People pray as though God is above them, and God will answer their prayer if it is something that they say that is right, a magic word. How ridiculous to think that. Let me give you the basic line for prayer. Jesus gave it to us. Magnificent teaching. He said, your Father knows of your needs even before you ask. So what's the need for prayer? If God knows what I need before I ask, why should I pray? The answer is already there, but I have missed it. See, prayer is not to commune with God, to beg God, to plead with God, to beseech God. Prayer in its truest sense is for me to come in harmony with God. And if I am going to come into that harmony with God, I am going to have to be meek, to be teachable, to be flexible, to listen alertly, and to love. We have a hard time with this meekness. Let me give you some steps on meekness, how to become meek. Again, the difference is learning from our head to learning from our heart. You see, you may learn a lot of things about life from your head, but the most important things you will ever learn are the things that you learn from your heart. God is not found in your head. God is not found in your intellect. Though you may look for it there, you will not find it there. You will only find God in your heart. People who are meek are teachable from their heart. They are susceptible and surrender to God from their heart. They do not allow God to be an intellectual pursuit. They allow God to be the spiritual pursuit. We don't experience God through our intellect. Again, we experience God through our heart. Let me give you some steps. These are simple steps. There are ones that you can use on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis. The first step is to practice humility. Now, humility is not embarrassment. We hear the word humility and we think, ooh, to lose face, to become embarrassed, to be humilified in front of people, humiliated. That's not it. We're not here to be humiliated in front of people. But to be humbled is far different. To be humbled is to put down our intellect, to put down our anger, to put down our fear, to put down that all-knowingness that we think we have. Jesus again put it quite well. He had to remind himself to be humble, to be meek. He said, I of myself can do nothing. It is the Father within me which doeth the work. And that is the most important thing that we can learn. I, Gregory Penn, of myself, cannot share with you this message. I cannot do it. Something larger, something greater, something better must come through me. And that is the key, to practice that greatness. Humility is where I look within myself and I say, I see my ego, I see my vanity, I see my pride, I see my intellect, and I choose to go deeper. I humble myself to know God. God comes in those innocent, loving moments, those unguarded, unprotected moments where we let down. And all of a sudden, in the down comes the rush of life, the rush of fulfillment. Humility, one of the great keys. The second point of meekness is to be able to take direction without question. I've often in my meditation times have sat with a problem inside of me, resisting the problem, going over and over and over the problem in my mind. And nothing is healed, nothing is brought to me in any form of insight. And then all of a sudden, I find myself arguing. I find, yes, there is an answer within me. I have felt that answer, but I'm not really aware of it because I'm arguing with it. I'm challenging it. I'm debating it. One of the things that we need to do is we need to surrender quickly. If I really work on the idea that I of myself know nothing and that the Father within me knows and does the work beautifully and perfectly, then I need to respond immediately. Respond to love quickly. Respond to forgiveness quickly. Respond to compassion quickly. This is the key. Not to hesitate, but to respond. Blessed are the meek. Wise is the person who is susceptible to their heart, for that person does not inherit the physical earth. He inherits the earth as a planet. We begin to see why we are here. We run around in this life trying to gain things that we don't understand. To inherit the earth simply means that we understand the reason for our life, that we are here for spiritual purposes, spiritual reasons, and to understand them. I'm honored that you chose to be with us, and I hope you won't go away because we have something very special, a discussion that you won't want to miss with a very exciting guest. Thank you for being with us, and stay tuned, please. Thank you. We have a crazy audience, and it's nice. We've been talking about what it means to be meek, and a lot of people think that meekness is weakness. I'm sure that you in the audience have questions about this. Every Sunday here at Unity of Escondido, we do have question and answer after my discourse, and TV is no exception. I'm always very interested in the questions that people have, especially on a subject that is important as this one is. So, ladies and gentlemen people, men too, let's talk about meekness. Gwendolyn?
What does it mean to inherit the earth?
Have you ever wondered what that concept means on a kind of a personal basis? We have tried to possess the earth. I like to call it this way. We've tried to rape the earth. We've tried to take it. We've tried to take it and make it ours in a way that is not legitimate. We are not one with it, so we try to take it. To inherit the earth means that we have to be related to it, doesn't it? But we're not talking about this earthly plane. When we think of earth, we think of ground, we may think of money, we may think of commodities, we may think of cattle or fruit in the field, but that's not what was meant. When Jesus talked about inheriting the earth, he was talking about one major thing that we all overlook, and that is to understand why we are here on this earth. When you understand the reasons for your being here, you inherit the earth. You inherit the lessons. They become very clear. You also have more power on this earth. When you understand who you are and why you're here, you naturally have enough power within you to draw to you the things that your body, your life need. You have command over the elements. But until then, it's kind of a fight. It's a struggle because we don't understand who we are. How can I bring to me or draw to me the things that would bless my life when I don't understand who I am? If I think of myself as a material, physical human being, I'm going to think of myself as a material, physical human being. I'm going to learn to be conniving. I'm going to learn to be cunning. I'm going to learn to be deceptive, all in an effort to try to get something out of the earth that will make me happy. But when we learn that life has a flow to it, and that I am here for very specific reasons, to practice unconditional love, then I inherit the earth. Then it's not a struggle anymore. I don't have to do anything. What I am is enough to draw things to me. I will have enough to draw the elements that will feed my physical body, take care of my physical needs. I love what Jesus said. He said, look at the lilies of the field. They don't toil, they don't spin, and God clothes them and the grass of the field much better than you allow yourself to be clothed and arrayed by God. Why? Because a lily doesn't want to be a rose. You know what I mean? It doesn't have ambitions to be a rose. It accepts itself as a lily. It doesn't compare itself, and therefore is allowed to give itself over. And the same thing with you and me. To inherit the earth is to understand I'm a spiritual being. I'm not here to fight and starve and claw my way through this earth, but to understand the nature of the earth. I am here to be a divine part of it, a harmonious flow. Next question. On meekness. Phyllis of Brothers.
Is forgiveness considered meekness and admitting you're wrong?
Ooh, powerful question. 2 words, or really 3 if we hyphenated, 2 words that we have the most difficulty with in the English language. I am wrong, or I'm wrong. Meekness comes in a moment in a person's soul where the soul turns inward, where we can go and look within ourselves very gently and we can see that a lot of the things that we thought were true just aren't. And a lot of the things that we were dead sure about, we're not dead sure about anymore. And here's the corker, that a lot of the things that we thought were very true are not, and we were wrong. Meekness is the ability to start all over again at this age, wherever you are. Most people pride themselves. I look at people, all of us, like garages. When you first get married, you got a garage and it's got nothing in it. You can park both cars in it. As the years go on, the boat, the camper, the boxes, the clothes, the toys, all fill up the garage until you can't put the cars in anymore and you can't close the garage door anymore, right? And you think, all of this stuff, I got all this junk, but I can't do without it, can I? Because if I do without it, it's got sentimental attachments to it, and maybe we'll need it for later, you know what I mean? And we never use it. And then we pass on, and our relatives have to go in there and sort out all that garbage, and they say, why did we keep that? I think our spiritual consciousness is the same way, our minds. I think we start off with kind of an empty garage, and we fill it up with all sorts of garbage, and we fill it up, and now learning is impossible. Because we look in that garage and we go, I can't cram one more thing in there. Not one more thing do I have to put in there because I've got so much junk in there. Brave is the person who says, I need my spiritual soul or garage cleaned out. And I dump it, and I start all over again. Part of that is admitting I've been wrong. That a lot of the things I don't need that anymore. I don't need that worn out belief. I don't need to think that I only give to the deserving. I don't need to think that this person's right and this person's wrong. These are good people, these are bad people. I can throw that out. I don't need to cling on to these old, outdated moral values that really don't help me be a better person, but make me feel guilty and ashamed of myself. I can throw those out. I can live a clean, happy, healthy life becoming new again and admitting that some of the things that I accepted were wrong. Gutsy person to do that, wouldn't you say? And certainly not very religious, but extremely spiritual. The religious person is a junkie. He keeps a lot of old stuff around. He's been taught to keep it around. The spiritual person lets all that garbage go. Does that help? A little bit? Next question.
How does weakness become meekness?
Well, weakness can turn to meekness and strength. We often think that meekness is weakness. It's not, but yet a weakness can turn there. When I've come to the kind of the bottom of myself, Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane reminds me of this. He had done everything that he thought he was supposed to in this life, and he's laying there on the ground with his face in the dirt, and he's saying, "Take this cup from me." There was a tremendous amount of weakness, but also a tremendous amount of meekness, of strength, to be able to learn from that experience. When you get down to the very end of your life, the very bottom, that's when you're ready to come to the top. And when you're the weakest could be when you're the strongest. It takes a great amount of strength to be teachable, and that's what meekness means, to be teachable, to learn again. That takes great courage. For some of us, we think courage is driving. Some of us, we think that courage is flying in an airplane, but I'll tell you, the greatest courage you have is relearning what you thought you already knew, or dropping what you thought you knew. Meekness takes great strength, but sometimes to get there, you have to be weak inside. Isn't that amazing? What a paradox. We have to go down to the very bottom before we can start our way back up to the top. I admire those of you who sit out here at different ages, and you've had a lot of experiences, and you say to yourself, "I'm ready to relearn." I admire that. I admire those of you who said, "I've had enough of this garbage, I've had enough feeling bad for myself. I want something more in my life, and I'm ready to start all over again in me." That is meekness. And many are called, but very few are chosen to do that. They'd rather hold on to their religious, righteous self-indignation than to let that go for something a little more powerful. I bow to those of you who do that. I'm humbled. One more question. We have time for one quick one down here.
How can I be meek when somebody's attacking me?
Flow with their energy. If someone's attacking you, don't give them a target. Seek to flow with them. Step aside. Meekness is the ability to see another person's need to be aggressive, but not your need to block their aggressiveness, but to seek to flow with it. Be meek. Forgive. Be compassionate, and don't let anyone run over you. Step aside. Let them go by you. Okay? You understand? We'll fool them. I want to thank those of you in our home audience and you in our studio audience for allowing us to be meek enough to share this time with you. God bless. Thank you. We'll be right back. Don't go away. We'll be right back.